I gotta say, there is a big hole in Apple right now because so much has leaked out in like the past week. We've got the SE Plus, the small notch in iPhone 12, AirPods, Beats, and so much more. I'm Skylar, let's get started. So the leaks in the video that I'm focusing on are the ones with the most likelihood of happening. There are so many leaks right now that some are just fake, some are more sketchy, but there are so many valid good ones that there's no reason not to just focus on the good ones. So these leaks in the video are the ones that are very likely to happen from the most reputable sources, as reputable as you can get talking about leaks. But these are the most likely leaks. So our first one here is the iPhone SE, obviously by it being on the screen here. So there were a lot of leaks from the SE, but even before it came out, about a Plus model, a Max model, just a bigger model. But that didn't release with it because of production issues. And those production issues are bad enough that we can't expect this phone until 2021. So John Prosser was originally saying early 2021, while Ming-Chi Kuo is saying late 2021. But the idea is, if you were planning on getting this phone, I mean, you might just want to give up because these are reliable sources and you can basically decide this phone is not coming yet. Like, it really isn't for another year at least. This one, ooh, this is really cool. This is iPhone 12 leaks, so that is the September flagship phones. And we're talking here the notch. And that is a much smaller notch. Come on. And that is a much smaller notch. And that's awesome. Like, seriously incredible that we're finally getting this small notch that I have always wanted. I mean, seriously, all they did here is move the parts close together and move the speaker, microphone, phone thing up to the top. It's incredible. But they didn't do it before. They did not do it until now. So, I think this could really happen on this year's phones. And that is a small notch. Like, seriously, look at that. That's a small notch, and that's awesome. I'm excited for that. But there is a sad part. Kuo also says these phones will be delayed. So, we're not going to see them until a little bit later in the year. We are still expecting them by end of year, but they will probably have a staggered release. So they may all be released at the same time, but you won't be able to buy them until different times. They will all be available to buy at different times. So maybe some early September, some early October, maybe even late November or December, just because there are so many production issues, COVID related and 5G related, that are causing issues with this phone. But we should still see it end of year, so no need to worry there. The next thing is AirPods and Beats, which is really quite interesting. So we got a lot of things here. The first one is the AirPods 3 and the AirPods Pro 2. They're planned for late 2020, 21, or maybe even 22. Just, again, always back to those production issues is what it depends on. Those, I mean, they could really be any time over them. And we don't really have any idea of features, just that they are planned and will come. More interestingly, though, is these AirPods Pro Lite, which are they're weird. So they're supposed to be between the normal AirPods and the AirPods Pro. Originally called AirPods X because this originally came from that Target leak from way back, and that's just what its placeholder was. But I think this is really kind of a weird spot to fit into Apple's lineup, and so does Kuo. He thinks these will actually be a Beats product, some sort of Power Beats wireless earbuds or something, which makes sense. So we're talking Beats here, which is owned by Apple, but doesn't get as much of a big awareness when they release something. And there is one more thing. That is headphones. And modular ones. Apple's expected to release some modular headphones. It's iPad time, and there's a lot of iPad stuff, like so many rumors about new iPads being delayed, just a whole bunch of stuff out there. But here's what you need to know about iPad models. There's an iPad, an iPad Pro, and an iPad Air in development, but we can't really know when they're coming or the features, but they are in development. Software-wise is when things get interesting. That's what John Prosser here, really good friend, not personally, but I would love to be because he has got so many good leaks coming out here. This one is saying that we will see XCode and Apple's Pro Series products coming to the iPad. XCode is Apple's IDE, integrated development software, that's designed for use with Objective-C and Swift and other developer stuff. It's designed for Apple developers to develop apps. And we've got the Pro app software, which is Final Cut, Logic, and all those tools. Final Cut, Logic, some other ones related to those. So this is video and audio production, and it's really nice. That on the iPad would be awesome. If these come, I will seriously have to buy an iPad because I'm very into development and obviously I'm into video and audio editing. So this would be awesome for me. I would totally get an iPad if these come. This is expected for iOS 14 or 15, but to get an iOS 14.0 release would be kind of insane. So we're thinking later 2020, maybe early 21 here for this feature. But this is like totally supposed to come, which is awesome. Unlike this next thing, which is another very sketchy leak, because a lot of random leaks have just started coming up because of this big pile of leaks right now. So this one is a game controller. Supposedly Apple's working on a game controller, and that's really all there is to this leak, is just that. And this is not a very valid leak, unlike all the other ones in this video, but it's interesting. Because Apple appears to be getting more involved in gaming, and this would be kind of cool. But that's really all there is to that one. The other kind of unvalid one here is a HomePod Mini. This one is much more rumored than leaked, so there could be something to it, but not necessarily. And the HomePod is just a speaker, so like I got over there my Echo. It's just like that, but bigger, more expensive, and from Apple and with Siri, and Siri is kind of dumb. But we could see this HomePod Mini, but it is just rumors. The Apple Watch Series 6 will have the same design as the Series 5 and 4. This came from a Q&A on Twitter that John Prosser did with lots of good info, including that WWDC will be on June 1st, or at least that's when it starts and when Apple is internally planning it right now. We haven't had an official date yet, but that is what Apple is going with internally. Last, a few Mac updates. So we've got a new iMac this year that is already ready, like Apple's ready to ship this if they can. It will probably just be a refresh with new hardware on the inside, but I do kind of wish Apple would update this because people are kind of starting to get upset about all the bezels on the iMac and the MacBooks too. And that's our last thing, MacBooks. So Apple is also really ready with MacBooks on the new ARM or ARM processor chips. So this is Apple designed on a totally new chipset here. So that will involve the MacBooks to have like crazy new software redesigns, apps changing, stuff like that. But the key here is that this is Apple designed chips, so it could be more efficient, could be cheaper. We'll have to see. That's expected at the earliest WWDC, at the latest early 2021. So that's about a year time frame there. But there are so many leaks, like more than I covered in this video, and it's getting really exciting right now. I'm Skylar. Thanks for watching. Bye.